Hello, hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. Man, I like this early bird stuff.
I know it. I know. I got on and there were lots of others on, so that was good.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
It's good
We
stuff.
yeah, we're going to have our mentees, our new students. I think probably 12 will be joining us today.
Very
Uh,
nice.
we have several of the kiddos that have other obligations today, basketball games, you know.
I get it. Yep.
That kind of thing. And then we have our mentors joining us, and one of our board members, our board chair, is likely going to be joining us today.
Nice. I like it.
Yes. Yeah.
The more the merrier. We'll have a good time all the way around. It'll be fun.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. We've got a variety of an array of skills and talented mentors and um, so it's great. I'm real excited about the talent and the depth of who we have. So
I
anyway,
like it. I
mhm.
like it.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So Bob, did you want to do any breakout sessions? I don't know if this actually, let me see if we can do any breakout sessions today. Or is it just going to be open dialogue?
I can do. Let me look here over my stuff real quick. I don't think I had it scheduled to do breakout sessions. So,
Okay. Yeah, because I don't, for some reason, this was not allowing us to do that last time
yeah,
in our phone call with Chris. And I don't see the opportunity to do breakout sessions on the menu. So that answers the question for both of us.
yes. Well, that's all right. We'll have a good time looking at some other things and give everybody an opportunity to kind of visit and talk about some of these areas that we'll look at.
Yeah, so everybody should have all this. We had a great kickoff. We had two kickoff events last week and started the ball rolling. So we're really excited.
Very good.
Yeah.
I'm excited. This is my favorite subject today. So,
Mm.
Yeah, we should be able here. Look right here. I'm gonna hit.
So what's the weather like in Louisiana?
It's nice today, sunshine, which
That's
is
good.
wonderful.
I'm going to be there Wednesday. I need it to be nice.
Oh, really? You're coming in Wednesday, huh?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Be there for a few days watching the grandkiddos. So,
Oh, wonderful.
yeah.
Wonderful. That is great. Well, had I known that, we could have. No, I'm just kidding.
Not going to be there long enough for that.
That's true. That's
But
true. No, those babies take prior precedence, that's for
they
sure.
do indeed.
Hmm.
They do indeed. So have you made me co-host so that I can share screen?
Let me let you. I don't want to share my screen.
No. Did you get everyone a copy of the values?
Yes, I did.
Okay, value sheet.
Mhm. There we go. Okay, you are now the host.
I'm the host. Look out. We're in trouble.
All right. Well, it's 4 o'clock, and I'm sure there will be several others joining us as kids are getting in the door from school. I am going to open us up and welcome everyone. Okay. All right. I'm just going to pray real quick.
Okay.
Father God, I thank you for this time, Lord, with Bob and with our amazing mentors, Father God, and these students that, Lord, have chosen to be a part of this program. And Father, I thank you that we just commit this time to you. I thank you for going ahead of us, straightening every crooked place. I thank you and I praise you, Father God, for what you're doing in, through, and for us in this season throughout this mentorship journey, Father God. And we thank you and praise you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Man.
All right. Well, everyone, this is Dr. Bob Turner. And as some of you heard, he's coming to town this week. Actually, he has two sons that live, two sons and grandchildren as well. And Bob lives in Virginia Beach, Virginia. He oversees Sunset Academy of Leadership Training. He is a coach, a consultant, leadership development guru is who I call him.
Mm.
And I now get to call him friend. And so it's with a great honor and sheer delight that he is so much a part of what we're doing within this mentorship program. And I am just in awe of his desire to be very much a part of what we're doing. When he heard about Chris Kelly, our executive director, introduced us together, told him what we were doing, and he said, "Well, how can I help?" And he's been involved ever since. So anyway, I introduced Dr. Bob Turner to each one of you.
Well, good afternoon.
Welcome.
All right. Thank you. And thank you for the kind words. Guru, I am not, but I do enjoy the subject that we're talking about and certainly the idea of leadership. So I am so encouraged with you as students who have a desire to learn about leadership, to learn about being an entrepreneur, learning how to improve who you are as a person and learning about so many different areas that I know that you're getting from all of your mentors, as well as the material that you're going to be getting through online discussions with others. So I am so thankful for the opportunity to get to be a part of this because I think it's an incredible program and one that I would love to see every Chamber of Commerce across the country implement because I think it's so needed that we spend time talking about and how do we work with this upcoming generation to prepare them to be leaders. And as Margaret mentioned, I direct a program called the Sunset Academy of Leadership Training. And I travel across the country and I spend a lot of my time working with different organizations, primarily churches, in the area of leadership and leadership development. And so I enjoy the subject. I love the discussion, and hopefully we'll have some discussion today in regards to that. We're going to primarily focus on this idea of values and integrity and character. And so we'll spend a little time talking about each of those as we kind of go through this afternoon session. And I really welcome questions that you might have, as well as thoughts that you might have in regards to what we're talking about. I think you each have a sheet that was given to you about values, and the sheet doesn't define values, but I'd like for us to start by just helping you have maybe a perspective of what values are. And by definition, if you will, values are deeply ingrained principles that guide your actions and keep you focused. And so we all have values, and we may not necessarily know what they are, but a part of what we want to talk about is what those values are for you. And one of the most important pieces, I think, for you to understand as you go into this is what values do. Because when you have values in your life, they will challenge you on why you do what you do. I don't know if you've ever stopped to think about it, but you make decisions in your life, and there are certain actions that you're going to take, certain things that you're going to say. You'll participate in various activities. All of those things are really going to be determined on the foundation of your values. And when you have values and you're facing a decision, a choice that you have to make as to something you're going to say, something you're going to do, your values will challenge you to ask yourself, okay,
Tell I'ma
should
be
I
in
do
the
this
meeting till five. She
or
said she
should
was
I not do it?
till five.
And
I was
so,
trying to see if she got the sleeping med. She was trying to see if you got the sleeping meds. Okay.
so the idea of values will help you understand why it is you do what you do. But the big question is how do you determine them? How do you determine what your values are? And this is where I'd like for you to get the list that you've been given. And I want you to go through and I want you to pick out 5, maybe 6. Just kind of read through it and think about what words on that list resonate with you. And so take just, we're going to give you about 2 minutes to kind of just scan it. I don't look at every word in detail, but just kind of scan through the list. And I want you to select 5 or 6 of those words on the sheet that you think characterize what you want to be your values, or that the values you think you already possess, that guide the decisions you make, things that you do, things that you say, and so on. So we'll take about 2 minutes, and then I'm going to ask you to share some of those with us. Okay, you should have at least 3 or 4, maybe 5 on your list. And so here's what I'd like for you to do. I want you to look over your list. You've got 3, maybe 6, up to 6. But as you think about those words, which one of them, this is what I want you to share with us. Which one of those values would you consider to be your top value that guides everything you do, every word you speak, every action in your life? What value would you say is the top of your list? We'll start with volunteers before I call.
Hmm.
I'll go first, Mr. Bob.
All right.
I
Who
would
is-
say this is Garrett Thompson.
Okay.
One of my most important values that I try to hold myself to daily is integrity.
Mm,
And that's a big word. A lot of people take it as integrity around, honesty and things like that, but also integrity in doing what I say I'm going to do for somebody.
okay. Very good. Who's next?
Hey, this is Peyton. I'll follow Garrett.
Okay.
Hey, so a word I was looking for on the list was intentional, and I didn't really find it, but I saw thoughtfulness, which I feel like goes pretty hand in hand. That's
Okay.
just one word that I try to be every day with every conversation I have, whether it be personal or work. If I can intentionally or be thoughtful in my words and make somebody's day better, that's kind of one thing I try to do every day. Thanks.
Very good. Very good.
Let's hear from a student.
This
Go
is
ahead.
Grace McGowan. And my top word was carefulness,
Mm,
which I feel like is I'm very cautious about a lot of things that I do, and I really focus on like my school and stuff like that.
very good. Like that.
This is Sherry. Can you hear me?
I can.
Hi. I'm like Garrett. Integrity would be on at the top, and then I like curiosity. I don't like to just take things as I see them because I know I can sometimes interpret something that I'm looking at or seeing. So I'm curious to be sure that I've looked at different aspects of what's going on around me.
Okay.
The other thing is optimism. I'm big on optimism. I've got my glass has to be half full. I'm very optimistic.
Well, it's interesting you say that. I took an emotional intelligence assessment test here last year as I was working through some certification course for it. I scored lowest in optimism. And I'm like, how's that happen?
Well, I might too if I took that test, but I haven't taken that test.
Okay, someone else. What is your top value?
Can I go?
Yes.
All right, this is Noah. I would probably say my top value at the moment would be determination.
Mm,
Reasons for that would be, I mean, I need a lot of determination in life with a lot of the things I do, especially when it comes to like work and school and being able to be determined to go there, learn, get better, do all that good stuff. So, I mean, I feel like determination is very important.
very good. I like that. How about if I just start calling names? Catherine Jenkins, let's still go with you.
I chose kindness
Mm,
because I try to be that for everybody on the daily. So that's my top value.
okay. I like that. Very good. Olivia?
So I actually chose commitment, and I just feel like that one resonated with me the most because that's just a value that I think that people should hold true to themselves, both professionally and personally, with following through with the things that you say that you're going to do, or the things that you might not have even told anybody else that you want to do, but you commit to yourself, you commit to others, and have that follow through is just so important to me.
Very good. Caitlin.
I chose mindfulness because I try to be like mindful in like the words that I say and how I talk to people.
Okay. Seth. Come back to Seth. Carolina.
I chose reputation because I feel like that plays a huge role in how you come off to people.
Very good. I like that too. Kira? Or I may be pronouncing it wrong. Is it Kira or Kyra?
It's actually Elijah. It's my mom's account.
Oh, okay. Elijah.
Sorry about that.
That's quite
Yeah,
all right.
that's a little
I just see a
confusing.
name.
Right, right. I think a thoroughness. I don't think you should ever do something halfway or not finish a task out the full like capabilities or potential.
Very good. Gracie Ouchley.
I chose adaptability because I feel like having the ability to have some give and take in situations and be firm in what you believe and what you stand for, but also be able to, I guess, shift and have different perspectives. But that's also one of my top 5 Gallup strengths as well. So I relate to adaptability a lot.
All right. Very good. There is a book that was put out called, I want to say it was Adaptable Leadership or something of that nature. But anyway, it talks about the importance of leaders being adaptable. And so it's a good book. So where'd we get to here? Shelley, is it Shelley Odom?
Hey, yes. So mine would be my faith because without my faith, I cannot do anything whatsoever. That is the foundation of everything that I do. So that would definitely be my number one.
Very good. Debbie Bales or Bayless.
Sorry, I was trying
That's
to
okay.
unmute, Bob.
It's okay.
Took a minute. Well, I would say this changes for me or has changed, but I'm in my early 60s now. And this past year, courage would be my value word because I've had to take a stand on some things. And I would encourage, especially these young people, that sometimes you may be in the minority, but you have to call on your courage and strength to stand up and say, this is what I feel is right, because the majority may not see things really sometimes for what they are. And it takes courage to have, peer pressure never ends. I'll just say it like that. And
true.
courage is important no matter
Very
what
good.
your age or where you are in life.
Very good. Spencer.
I would say mine would be determination, because once I set my mind to it, there's no going back. So
I like that. Yeah. Determination, commitment, those kind of go together in what you said. That's good. Donner. Okay, let's come back to Connor. Amy. Let's try Emma. Wendy, I'm looking at you. Let's have it.
I am here. I will answer. I have to echo, and I couldn't catch the lady's name, but it is my faith that determines my values. I operate from a biblical perspective, and that pretty much guides everything I do.
Very good. How about Amelia?
I said trustworthiness or reliable because I want to be known as like the person who people can rely on to get things done or to get told to someone or kind of just be the person that someone can lean on.
Very good. Very good. Is it Roy Mel? Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Yeah, that's right. It's Roy
Okay.
Mail.
Okay.
I would have to say perseverance. If I've not learned anything else about life, I've learned that in order to be successful, you have to learn how to fall, to learn and get back up again. We're gonna have difficulty and experience setbacks, but usually we can mature and learn from those things. But just get back in there, persevere no matter what.
All right. Jody?
I would say I actually have two, but they kind of go hand in hand. Mine are curiosity and application. So being in academia, right, we're always curious, but it's also important not just to learn about it, but actually be able to take that knowledge and apply it to everything that you do.
Very good. Asia? How about Bernicia? Oh, wait, there we go. Are you there, Asia? I'm not hearing anything. How about Bernicia?
I'm here.
All right.
And right now, my values, I have two that are my top, and it'll be presence and alertness. It's because I feel like if you're given an amazing opportunity or any opportunity in general, you won't allow yourself to become a sponge and take advantage of those opportunities if you're not present and alert. Because you can be there and you can be around people and be around certain connections, but if you're not present and alert, it will be a wasted opportunity. So those are my two right now that I'm holding true and working on.
Very good. Courtney, are you there?
I'm here. I'm here.
I just want to say how much I like your haircut. That's all I'm going to say, and we'll immediately move on.
I can appreciate that. Yeah, it's hard work and dedication over here. I would say integrity. Integrity is something that I feel like I walk with on a daily basis. You know, if I say I'm going to do something, well, by golly, it's going to get done.
I like that. Very good. Who am I missing? Did we get Seth earlier? Seth, you there? And I know I'm not going to pronounce this correctly. Is it Markea? Tell me how to pronounce your name correctly.
Markia, you're right.
Okay, Markia.
My word would be encouragement. I love to encourage others, especially, for example, if I have a day where I'm not feeling my best or doing my best, by me encouraging somebody else will lift me up. So I love to pour into other people just to give them, encouragement that they can continue on and be their best selves.
Very good. I like that. Okay, Margaret. Got to unmute there.
Sorry. The R's have it for me. Actually, I like, integrity is probably one of the top, but respect, responsibility, and restoration are three key ones for me. I feel like those are just kind of like a calling card for me. So
very good.
Yeah.
Did you check? I didn't check the names of who I got to and who I didn't. I don't remember who, if I've missed someone.
So, let's see. Seth, we didn't get. Emma, did she?
I don't know. You there, Emma?
And Amy. We didn't hear from Amy or Connor. I think they may have stepped away.
Okay. So,
Same
oh,
thing.
go.
If you ask me, I'm gonna do it and that kind of thing.
Okay. Thanks, Amy. So when we think about the idea of values, so you have this list, and the interesting thing about values is while you look at your values now, and I think this was even kind of brought up earlier, that sometimes your values are going to change as you get older. The season in life, I appreciated earlier, Margaret talked about even, and she was praying about this particular season. And the idea is that your seasons in life are going to change, whether that be, graduating high school and going to college, the idea of getting out of college and going to work, getting married, having children. I mean, the list goes on and on. And as those seasons come in your life, your values may change, or you may look at that list and say, I really don't have this value, but I would like to have it. And for me, and I really appreciated several of you talked about the idea of integrity. That's probably one of the key words for me is integrity. And as I think about, and I'd like for you to do the same thing, is to think about for just a moment 3 or 4 people that you admire the most. And what is it about them? Why do you admire them? And I can't answer that question for you, but from my perspective, one of the things that has helped me the most when I think about why I admire someone, it's usually because of the values that they demonstrate in their character, whether that's integrity or commitment or dedication or whatever that may be. I look to them and I think, I want to be like that because that's the value that they have in their life. But I want you to think for just a moment about what makes you special and what makes you different from others. And there may be a lot of things. There may be a lot of qualities that you have, but whatever those are in your life, that's what makes you you. It's what makes you unique. And as you think about values and those things that determine why you do what you do, I think it's also important if you're going to determine what your values are and what values you want to have in your life, you have to ask yourself, who do you aspire to be? 5 years from now, 10 years from now, who is that you want to be? And once you know that, then you put in place the types of values that will help you get there. So I want us to spend a few moments talking about integrity. That came up from several of you, and I wish we had the time to really go through each of the ones that you selected. But I want to talk about integrity because to me, I think all of the values tend to flow from our integrity to some degree. So someone tell me, in fact, Garrett, I think you started off with this. Garrett, you mentioned integrity. How do you define integrity? If you were going to tell us what integrity means to you, how would you define it?
Trying to think about that for just a second.
Okay.
I read a really good article one time about integrity, and kind of like I was saying, it's more than just who you are inwardly, as far as your values and your morals and all of that, but it's also how you treat others outwardly. So try to use it a lot at work, and like I said, kind of doing what you say you're going to do, being somewhere when you say you're going to be there. Those types of things are integrity. And also, I'm a big Jocko Willink fan.
Oh, yeah, I like Jocko.
Yeah, I'm a Jocko fanboy. So,
all right.
But and also all that he talks about in extreme ownership. So that also kind of feeds into integrity. So, I guess if you could sum that all up into a definition, would be, having moral standards that you hold yourself to, along with doing what you say you're going to do and taking extreme ownership of your actions. all kind of embody my view of integrity.
Very good. Very good. Anyone else want to add maybe a definition that you've heard or what integrity means to you? Well, I've asked this question to a lot of different people. I mean, all over the country. And it's interesting. I get a lot of answers very similar to what Garrett talked about. And the idea of doing what you say you're going to do, it's being honest, truthful. What's interesting is the history of this word. It really goes back for many, many centuries, in fact, millennia of time. But it had to do with a wholeness, a completeness, and almost without imperfection kind of thing. But the most common definition that I get, and I think this kind of feeds into what Garrett was talking about, is it's doing the right thing when no one else is watching, even if it costs you something. You know, the idea of doing the right thing when people are watching sometimes is pretty easy to do. If you got peer pressure and people are saying, okay, we're watching, we want to, are you going to do the right thing? And sometimes when you know people are watching, whether that's a parent or it may be a schoolmate, or it may be, you know, a friend or somebody on the job, if you know they're watching, it's a lot easier to do the right thing. But integrity is about doing that when no one is watching, and even if it costs you something. And I think if you'll keep in mind that that's what integrity is, and to think about it from the perspective of, okay, when no one else is watching, will you still do the right thing? You know, whether that's something you watch on television or on your computer or a movie you go to, whether that's making a decision that you know, to take something that maybe isn't yours, or to cheat on a test, or, you know, the list goes on and on. Integrity says, I'm going to do the right thing, even though I know there's nobody else watching and I could get away with it, but that's not the right thing to do. And so that's integrity. And so let me share with you a few suggestions to help you develop integrity in your life. And I think it goes back to the foundation of your purpose. Do you know what your purpose is in your life? If you don't know what your why is, why you're here, why you exist, those kinds of things, then that's where I would suggest you start. Because when you know what your purpose is, and you add to that defining your values, which is why I wanted to start with values. When you know what those values are and you add those on top of what your purpose is, then it's going to help shape you and your integrity. Someone mentioned earlier the idea of commitment. You got to be committed to what you believe. If you believe it, it doesn't matter if anyone else believes it or not. If it's right and you believe it, then be committed to that. Don't back down because someone says, well, I don't believe that. Maybe if 10 people in the room and 9 of them say, I don't believe that. If you believe it, be committed to it, because that's what integrity is all about. I would also encourage you to make very clear decisions. And when you know your purpose and your values and you're committed to what you believe, it really makes your decisions much easier in life. And then I want you to think about, what is it that, decide what you will and will not change. I've often asked people, when you make a list of areas in your life and you think about the idea of what you will compromise, what you won't compromise, it's important to make a list of those things. Sit down sometime and take a piece of paper, draw a line right down the middle, and think, on the left-hand side, put down what is it that you will change, and put on the right-hand side what you will not change. It's very insightful to ask yourself and to challenge yourself to think about, when it comes to integrity, those types of things in your life that you're willing to change and the things that you are unwilling to change. Now, I want to share with you some thoughts about character, because integrity is going to be a key part of your character. In fact, you know, it's interesting in my life. I have, I don't put a lot of stock in fortune cookies, but I have had some very interesting fortune cookies in my life. Again, while I don't put stock in them, in 2009, about 15 years ago, I had taken a job in which I was going to direct an international program of schools. I had never even been out of the United States, as far as to a foreign country. and I didn't have a passport. And my first country I was going to was Nigeria. And so about a week before that trip, my wife and we went down to this little Chinese restaurant close to where we lived. And, you know, you eat, and after the meal, they bring you the bill and they give you a couple of fortune cookies. Well, I opened one and it said this: "Your feet shall step on the soils of many lands." I thought, I have saved that strip of paper because I've not only been to Nigeria, I have been all over numerous countries in West Africa, in East Africa. I've been to Europe. I've been to India. I've been to Korea. I've been to Nepal. I have been to Central America, South America, Cambodia. I've been literally, my feet have stepped on the soils of many, many, many lands. About a year or so later, I was back at that same restaurant. I opened up another fortune cookie and it said this: "God gives you one face, you make for yourself another." Think about that. God gives us one face, but we make for ourselves another. That's talking about our character. And the funny thing about character is every decision that we make in our life shapes our character, and our character will shape every decision in our life. General Norman Schwarzkopf once made the statement that leadership is the potent combination of strategy and character. And if you must be without one, be without strategy. He wasn't saying that strategy is unimportant, but what he was saying is that the bedrock foundation of your influence, your leadership, is about character. And so when you think about character, there are so many avenues that we could spend time talking about in regards to character. But here are a few thoughts I'd like for you to think about. One is you need to know the difference between three very important words. The first is the idea of image, and the second is reputation. Image is who you think you are. Reputation is who other people think you are. And character is who you really are. Now, you know, it's so funny. The way we see ourselves, that's our image. And sometimes we may see ourselves as being a certain type of person, but is that the way other people see us? You know, we talk about being a person of integrity and having certain values that you listed out. Well, is that the way other people see you? Do they see you as someone who's committed, someone who's dedicated, someone who stands on your faith, someone who is kind, caring, thoughtful? All of those words that were used, do people see you that way? But character is who you really are. Now, it's been interesting to me over the years. I've asked people, do you know what your reputation is? And it's interesting because most people really don't know what their reputation is. And I've visited a lot of different folks, and I've done this exercise even with churches. I'll ask them, do you know what your reputation is as a church in this community? And interestingly enough, most people don't. They don't know what their reputation is. They have an image of themselves, and they'd say that they're the friendliest, most loving group of people in the community. But would that be the way that folks in the community see them? Would that be their reputation? And generally speaking, image and reputation probably don't align the way that we'd like them to. But when we think about character, character is really who we are at our core. Our actions will flow out of that core. And when we understand who we are at our core, when we know our values, when we know what integrity is all about, then our character will be that center in our life that will determine the actions and the words in our life. And that's what people see. People don't know our intentions. They only know us by our actions. They hear the words we say, they see the things that we do. And that's how they determine how they see us. That becomes our reputation. But character is about who we really are at our center, at our core. And that's very important. Now, I think there was one, I think one of you young ladies mentioned a very important word that I want to spend a few moments talking about. And then I'm going to ask a question, and it's the word trustworthy. I want to tell you a story first, and then we're going to talk about this idea of trustworthy. And I have a question for you. A number of years ago, I went to a Chamber of Commerce banquet up in Arkansas. We lived in Greenbrier at the time, and so I went to this Chamber of Commerce banquet. The keynote speaker that night was, at the time, the head football coach of the Arkansas Razorback football program. When he got up, he began to talk about the staff. With every incoming freshman, the staff would sit down with every freshman and ask them 3 questions. 1, can I trust you? Can I trust you to go to class? Can I trust you to do the work that your teachers assign you? Can I trust you? The second question was, are you committed? Are you committed to being an Arkansas Razorback? Are you committed to giving 100% of your effort on the field and off the field? Are you committed? And then the third question, I'm not sure what he said after the third question because my mind went racing in another direction. I was thinking, okay, I took some notes and I plan on using this material. The third question was, do you care? Do you care? In my mind at that moment, I thought, if you take a group of people, no matter how small, no matter how large, you take that group of people, if they can be trusted and they are committed and they care, you can change the world. It's the only thing that ever has. And I want you to think about the word trustworthy in reverse. Trustworthy is about being worthy of someone's trust. You know, all my life, I've heard people talk about the need for us to trust God, to put our complete and total trust in God. And I get that. I know what the Bible says about it. But have we ever thought about it from the standpoint is, can God trust us? Can God trust you? Can he trust me? He has given each one of you amazing talents and abilities. How will you use them? Will you use them in a way that is worthy of what God has entrusted to you? When you think about your schoolwork, when you think about working for someone on a job, are you worthy of their trust? Because it's not just about our relationship with God. It's really also about our relationship with the people in our home, in our communities, in our schools, everywhere we go. Are we worthy of their trust? So my question to you is this: how do you develop that kind of character? How do you develop the type of character that is worthy of someone's trust? What do you think? How would you do that?
It's a time commitment to do it.
Yes.
You're going to have to demonstrate over and over and over again to that individual that what they trust you with will be handled in the way that they are expecting. And you can only do that by building that relationship. And they see it over and over, that you're consistent with what you say, with what you do. And then they can begin to trust. And it can also be lost in an instant by making a foolish decision or not being trustworthy with them.
Very good. It's the greatest commodity that you have as a leader, because if people cannot trust you, they will not follow you. Any other ideas? How do you develop that kind of character worthy of someone's trust?
I feel like this kind of goes hand in hand to what she was saying. being honest to someone. If you're showing someone else time and time again that you're a reliable person, then you'll develop a trustworthy relationship with them.
Very good. Very good. Any other thoughts?
I think that another way that you can build trust in someone is to keep your word. So
Okay.
that when you tell someone that you're going to do something, that you stick to that and that you make sure that anytime that you promise someone something or you make a commitment, that you stick by that.
Very good. Well, you're going to have many days to contemplate in the next 6 months as you go through this program to think about being trustworthy and what that means. I want to share with you three suggestions, which you guys have already mentioned, and so these will all go hand in hand. But a couple of them may be a little different than you're thinking. The first is what I call a character audit. The way a character audit works is that you have to, first of all, identify your values. That's what we did up front. You took the time to look through the list. You found that 4, 5, or 6 different values that you want to have in your life, or maybe that you already have and that you live by those values. Once you identify your values, then you have to look at your life. So over the last day, maybe over the last week, over the last month, when you look at your life and how you've lived, the words you've used, the things that you've said, do those things align with your values? So does your life align with the values that you had? If they do not, then don't try to make an excuse for it. Don't blame someone else. Don't say, well, if this hadn't happened, I wouldn't have said that, or I wouldn't have done that. Don't try to deny it, neglect it, or somehow just act like, okay, it'll go away if I'll just leave it alone. Change it. Every day is a new day to work on developing the character, the trustworthy character that you desire to have. But you need to know what your values are. You need to look at your life every single day and look back over the past day, past week, past month. And if there are things that do not align with those values, then change them. Number 2 is what is called the 10-10-10 principle. And the 10-10-10 principle is really a very simple process. It was a book written by Susie Welch called 10-10-10. And the idea is can I live with this decision 10 minutes from now, 10 months from now, 10 years from now? And so when you think about this idea of every decision that you make in your life is going to shape your character, and your character will determine the choices that you make in your life. And so if you're trying to develop a trustworthy character, then before you make a decision, before you say something in a moment of anger, before you decide to cheat, or before you decide to lie, or before you decide to whatever it is, you fill in the blank. Ask yourself, can I live with this 10 minutes from now? Can I live with the consequences of it 10 months from now? And can I live with that 10 years from now? If we will stop for just a moment and think about the impact every word and every decision we make has on the people around us and our influence in their life, it may determine how we make those decisions. And so, can I live with it 10 minutes, 10 months, 10 years? I'm going to recommend something to you. There are really 3 books in the series, but the first one, if you're going to get any book, this would be the one I would recommend that you read. It has changed more people's lives. It has had an impact on my life more than I can even tell you. But it's called Leadership and Self-Deception. It's put out by the Arbinger Institute. And the second book in the series is known as The Anatomy of Peace. And the third in the series is called The Outward Mindset. Now, this third suggestion for developing the kind of trustworthy character is about avoiding the box. And you'll notice in the subtitle of the first book, Leadership and Self-Deception, it's about getting out of the box. So let me explain to you how this works. There is what's called the choice diagram. The box is about self-betrayal. It's about self-deception. So we have this sense, or we have this desire to help someone else in an area of need. So we have to make a choice. Am I going to honor that sense, or am I going to betray that sense? And so once I make that choice, if I choose to honor that sense, then everything is good. But the minute I betray that sense and I decide not to help that person that I know is in need, then everything changes. My feelings change. The way I see myself changes. The way I see others changes. And the way I view the world changes. Now, there are 4 types of boxes that we can get into. And I'll tell you up front that the interesting thing about this mindset, or this concept of the box, is that I can be in one box towards one person, and I can be in a different box towards someone else. I can be in a third box towards a different person, and in the fourth box, all at the same time, just toward different people. It's not like I get in one box and that's the only box I'm in, but sometimes I may be in all of them. The first box is known as the better than box. And the better than box, really, you can see the different feelings that exist. I become impatient or indifferent. And I tend to view myself as being a little better than others. I'm superior, and other people are inferior. That's the way I see them. And of course, the world becomes very competitive, but it also needs me because that's how good I am. The second box is the I deserve box. And of course, this is a box where we begin to feel very entitled. Maybe we get resentful towards others, but we feel very entitled. And I view myself as being meritorious and oftentimes unappreciated for what I bring to the table. And the way I see others is they're really mistreating me. They're ungrateful towards me. Do they not know that I deserve to have this? And so the way we see the world is being unfair. It's unjust. The world owes me. The third type of box we can get in is the must be seen as box. Now, I'll tell you that my experience has been that with social media, this is the box that we get in more often than not. We get very anxious. We feel very needy sometimes. We need those likes. We need those shares. We get overwhelmed. And the way that we see ourselves is we have this sense of needing to be well thought of, but we also know that it's fake. It's not who we really are, but it's the way I tend to see myself. And the way I see others is they're very judgmental. They're threatening to me. They're my audience. And of course, the world becomes a very dangerous place because they're watching and they're judging me. But I have this sense of I need to be seen a certain way. I refer to this oftentimes as the Christian box. And I call it that because oftentimes what happens is we'll go to a church service on Sunday, and once we get inside the building, we put on this facade of everything is great. I don't have any problems. And then the minute we go out of the building, we go back into our world where we're struggling with various things in our life. And why do we do that? Well, because we need to be seen a certain way. And of course, the last box is the less than box. In the less than box, of course, I feel very helpless, very jealous of others and depressed most of the time because the way I see myself is I'm just not as good as others. I'm kind of broken and deficient. And I see other people as being very advantaged, and they're privileged. You know, they're blessed. And the world's a hard place. It's against me. And so, again, we can be in those boxes at various times and in various ways throughout the day. And so it's very important to know that when we start having those types of feelings, or we start seeing ourselves and the way that we see others begins to fall in some of those categories, then maybe we need to step back for a moment and ask ourselves, okay, this is not who I want to be. This is not the trustworthy character that I'm trying to develop. The way that we get out of the box and the way that we stay out of the box, no matter which box it is that we're in, is what's called the outward mindset. It's about seeing beyond ourselves. And so that when we look at our values, we do that character audit. And when we start asking ourselves, can I live with this decision 10 minutes from now, 10 months from now, 10 years from now? There's one last question that we have to ask. Is what I'm about to say, and is what am I about to do, is this really going to be better for the other person? Or am I only doing this because of the advantage it gives me? We're talking about the kind of character that is worthy of someone's trust. Well, the only way that we're going to be able to have the kind of character that is worthy of someone's trust is if our words, our actions are really designed around making sure that it's what's best for the other person. That's the outward mindset. And when I do what's best for other people, they are going to trust me. And then I will be living in a way that is worthy of someone's trust. That's character. So you can see how the idea of values, integrity, and character, they kind of all flow together. So I know we just have a few minutes left before we wrap up. So here's what I would like some feedback from you. What are a couple of takeaways from the things that we talked about today? What are some things that were said, maybe someone else in the class said in regards to their values and why they have those values? What are some takeaways for you from what we talked about today in regards to values, integrity, and character?
I'll just
Well,
say,
this is Sherry.
oh, go ahead.
No, well, this is Sherry. I'm just thinking, it really makes you step back and take our self-assessment, just from what the words that you just spoken to us, to ensure that we are what we perceive ourselves to be. What others do see in us, is it truthful? I like that very much, and I think it would be a good habit to get into for accountability.
Very good. Who was the first person? And there were two there were speaking up at the same time. Who else?
That was me.
Okay.
I was just gonna add that my takeaway is it's bigger than what we just perceive ourselves to be, and it's more than an idea. Though we truly need to know, you talked about purpose. That's very important. We have to decide, we have to have clear boundaries, and we have to not be afraid to Brene Brown is one of my favorite.
Ooh,
I
yes.
love her. So we have to not be afraid to brave the wilderness when it comes to standing by the things that we value. And, just having courage. I've heard a lot of different words, and all of that goes together to just, you mix it all up and you come up with purpose, and even being honest enough to say sometimes I don't know where I'm going, and I believe that prayer, faith, but also not just putting it all on God. He expects for us to be good stewards over the talents and gifts that he's
Yeah.
blessed us. So
Yeah. Talking about Brene Brown, if you ever get a chance to watch her TEDx talk on vulnerability.
I watch every TEDx talk I've read. I've listened to every podcast. I have her books.
Yes.
So,
Well,
yeah.
I tell you, I teach a course on emotional intelligence, and I really use a lot of her stuff, especially about empathy and being
Yes.
vulnerable and how important that vulnerability is. And, in relationship to what we've been talking about, when you're going to stand by your values, you have to be vulnerable.
Yes.
And that can be a very challenging thing. So somebody talked earlier about the idea of courage, and I really liked that concept because I think they mentioned being in their 60s, and I'm in mine. So I can relate to the idea of courage. I really appreciated that. Any other thoughts? What else? What takeaway for you? One takeaway or a couple maybe?
Excuse me. Okay. So here's my idea of this.
Okay.
I heard somebody earlier, sorry, I don't know your name, but I heard somebody earlier talking about how, like, if there's 10 people in the room, right? 9 people have this agreement that's bad, or not against, not with your beliefs, right?
Uh-huh.
And you're the one person that is the opposite. You should stick to your beliefs, even if it's like not beneficial for you or something, or it's making you look bad or something like that. Because I mean, your beliefs are your beliefs, and you should stick to them, even if other people look at you like with disgust or something.
That is true. Very true. Elijah, what does your shirt say? The Called? Just say The Called?
Called. No, sir. It's a great commission on it.
All right.
It's
like it.
Forget what it's Matthew 29, 19 and 20. It's a great commission.
Yep. Very good. I like that.
It's one of my favorite shirts. I wear it all the time.
Yeah.
But while I'm on here, might as well share
Yeah.
my takeaway.
Okay.
Might as well. I'd probably say the 3 10s, just the decision making overall. Cause I just like the 10 minutes thing. I don't really, most of the time I don't think past what the present is. I was thinking like what I'm going through in the moment, not what the effects could be down the road.
Yeah.
So that stuck with me.
Good.
This is kind of like piggybacking off yeah, you know what I mean, off of Noah's idea. It's really important to be an authentic person and to like stay true to your beliefs, no matter what anybody else is telling you or peer pressuring you into.
Yeah. Well, I know we're at 5 o'clock your time, and I would sit here all night and talk to you guys. If there's ever a point that you want to discuss more of this further, I welcome the opportunity and would love to help out in any way in that regards. But I want to reiterate something I said earlier. I don't even know how to tell you how encouraged I am by who you are in the fact that you give up time apart from your schoolwork, from work that you have, your other family responsibilities, and that you going through this mentoring program is something that's important to you. And I know that you've got some incredible mentors. I know some online people that you're going to be meeting in the months ahead, and they're dear friends of mine. And so I know that they're going to be helpful in other ways to you. But just keep doing that and learn from others, and you will be so blessed and benefited from it. But thank you for your commitment, dedication to this program, and being a part of this. It excites me to see so many, and I hope at some point I'll get to meet you in person. I will be in Monroe this weekend, or West Monroe this weekend, but I'm only there for a couple of days, so I'll be spending almost all of that time with my grandkids. But anyhow, I just really do appreciate you taking the time to be a part of this program, and I know that you will be greatly benefited from the amount of time that is going to be poured into you by so many others. And so just continue on that path, and you will see incredible things happen in your future.
Thank you,
And
Bob.
thank you for allowing me to be a part of the journey.
Well, there was no better person to kick us off. We actually had our kickoff event last week, and you are our first quarter coaching session, and you actually came before the mentors meeting with their mentees and beginning that one-on-one. And so what better way to start than to well, back up for just a second, kids, and I'm sorry, I'm calling you kids, students. When Bob said, whatever, I'll do whatever you want to do. And I said, well, you're going to be right after the kickoff. And so one of the things that I wanted Bob to really speak into your lives about was the art of becoming you. At this point in your life, you're 15, 16, 17 years of age. I remember when I was 15 and 16 and 17, and I'm telling you, I wish there had been a mentorship program for when I was in high school. But and no one at that point was talking about who you really are and values. I mean, we had our own, of course, we grew up in church, so we had faith and some values, but in today's society, that's almost like a lost art. It's like, hey, girl, you do you, and I'll do me, and all of that. Well, it's a lot more than that. You know, life is so much more
Hmm.
than what we as a society has made it. And so I just really applaud Dr. Bob for coming alongside of us and really speaking into our lives. And I say our lives because this really hit home for me as far as values. You know, seasons come and seasons go. Things, your values do change the older you get. The more life you've lived, the more wisdom that you will gain. And so your values do change. We are going into vision. Your first session with your mentor will be about vision casting. Well, if you don't know what you value, how can you create a vision statement for yourself? How can you create goals for yourself if you're not quite sure what your core values are? So thank you so much. I think, Bob, you did a great job in kicking us off and setting the stage for our mentors and our students to start this process.
Well,
This is very deep. Is there any one or two mentors that want to share just real briefly about kind of setting the stage for you to just take what he's done and move forward with it? No, we'll stop.
well, it was a privilege. So I look forward to seeing more in the future.
Well, thank you so much. And students, your mentors, and you will be getting together in the next couple of weeks. You will hear from me, and I so appreciate your time and your attentiveness. And I appreciate you all. Hey, Brandon.
Please pass on to them my email address. And if anyone wants to reach out, I'm glad to share the PowerPoint slides with anybody who would like to have more information on those. Glad to do that. So
Yeah, if you can send that to me. And Brandon, I think our chairman would like to say something. Brandon?
Yeah.
Hey, Margaret. Hey, Bob. Yeah, I mean, this one was special. I mean, I really enjoyed it. And, you know, to take away from everything that you shared, Bob, I want to say that the most important thing is, like you guys said over and over, finding who you are. And I think this is so refreshing. When we first talked about this at the chamber, we talked about bridging a gap, bridging a gap between that space with our young adults, and you guys are the future. I mean, Bob spoke to you about integrity. He talked to you about character. Those things are things that we can actually teach you. We can teach anybody skill. We can't teach character. It has to be within you. So I think it was Simon Sinek who always said people will work for the why you do it, instead of the what you
that's
do.
it.
So,
That's right.
I challenge you all to, be attentive, be aggressive, be intentional with everything that you want to do. I mean, I think our future is very, very bright. I am ecstatic, with the mentees as well as the mentors that's on this call. So you guys keep it going, and we are here to support you in any way we can. Good work, Bob. I look forward to hearing more from you. You let us know if we can help you with anything.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
All
See
right.
you later.
Bye now.
Bye.